Welcome back to Free to Play Fish with me, yours truly, your host, Krim, also known as the Asian Avenger. Well, actually, one more thing. It was Free to Play Fish, but we've rebranded to now Budget Arena because this season we're going to be upgrading with our collection. We're going to be upgrading as many decks as we can to get a ton of people somewhat tier decks, just like that are like playable on the ladder and efficient and actually able to get like pile on the wins here. So, but that aren't also insanely expensive. So, as you could see, this time around, you know, we're only using wild cards that the average player can get in about a month. And so, like this right here, as you can see, we're not counting any of the rares or mythics or anything that's just given to us from the starter decks. So, example, towards the budget, we're not counting this Drowned Catacomb because we got that for free. We're not counting Avraska's Contempt because we got that for free. But however, I am counting, example, the Search for Iskanta, Tezzeret. Even though I got Tezzeret from an individual card reward, doesn't matter. Didn't come with the deck. So, I'm only putting one of those in there. And then we've got 2 Ritual of Soots. Those are just kind of essential in any kind of control deck. So if you've seen from the last episode, Mono Blue was an easy craft, required only the 4 Djinns, and that was it. And you got 1 Djinn for free. So it was really only 3 rare wild cards and a bunch of uncommons and commons. This time around, a little bit more of the same, at least for a control deck. So this one's for the control mages out there. We're building, like Jeskai and Grixis, though, are powerful. Right now, they are using way too many rare wild cards, and that's because they're using it on lands. I'm choosing to forgo that, and we're just gonna go and play 4 Dimir Guildgates. So we only have the 1 Watery Grave, which we got. So we are counting the Watery Grave towards our budget. And so yeah, we have 4 Dimir Guildgates, 1 Drowned Catacomb, and a 1 Watery Grave. Those are our dual lands. The rest are all basics, and then we have a Memorial to Genius. On top of that, as you can see here, we've got Nezahal in the deck because this deck, you may think it looks a little like, you know, threat light, but that's kind of what Nezahal is here for. It's kind of threats like 4 through 8, if you would. It's very resilient. It stays around. It's kind of hard to deal with, in all honesty, especially when your opponent's throwing away cards from Disinformation Campaign and Thought Erasure. Like, that's the meat of our deck right there. That's our engine right there. That's going to be continuously grinding our opponent out of cards and bringing us back into the game and eventually pulling us ahead. And, you know, don't be afraid. Even if we lose a Nezahal, you can always get it back with an Eldest Reborn. And otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. You know, you want to use your health as a resource. Not too much. Don't be too generous about it. But, you know, you use your health as a resource, you know, take a few hits, and then set it up to where you get a nice Golden Demise, Ritual of Soot, sure thing. Fungal Infection, after playing the ladder on my own account and grinding, I feel like it's at an all-time high. It's so good. It answers the Danto. There's a lot of red deck, and there's a lot of Boros weenie decks. So let's see how this deck does on the ladder without holding you up any long. Good luck, Kadaris. All right, we're going to try to see if this budget version of Dimir will work. Pretty much our mana base is a lot worse, but because we don't have any dual lands. But, I mean, what we do, there are these guild gates. But, you know, maybe these guild gates aren't the worst. And to, you know, to really showcase the power of the deck, we don't need more than, like, what? Maybe a few sets. I mean, what is it? Not a few sets of stuff. Just like, there's only a few things we need, really. This deck is mostly uncommon and common. The rares that we're using, just Iskanta and Contempt. We opened boluses from the beginning when we started grinding. Like, we got it from ICRs. Not bolus, I mean Tezzeret. Oh, that's problematic. Good news. Okay, there's the really, really bad land, but we get to use Golden Demise here because it's not often that we'll have targets for Golden Demise. I'd like to get Blood Operative and another Dream Eater, but we just don't have the wild cards for that. And because on top of that, I'm not trying to go hard on the wild cards here. Let's go ahead and bin that. Oh, nice. I know that we could eventually find a land with that, but right now I just want to, like, try to get to my land naturally without having to spend 2 mana to do it. Because we already have another dispersal right in our hand. Of these items, I'm gonna probably discard Blink of an Eye. Alright, sweet. We drew a Drowned Catacomb, our only Drowned Catacomb. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm actually going to keep that. Now we have to watch out for the opposing Thought Erasures. On our end, at least, you know, we can Thought Erasure them if we draw it, but it requires us to draw it. An opt. All right. Seems optimal. You got it. No Thought Erasure from the opponent. No Thought Erasure from the opponent. But yeah, like, everything this deck is doing is all off of just uncommons and stuff that we randomly have gotten, like Nezahal and stuff like that too. Nope. Can't let them do that, because that allows them a chance to potentially, unfortunately, we have the library to that. I would love to bin that, but unlikely to happen. Alright, so they have Plaguecrafter in the yard. Now we just hold up. We bluff the counterspell magic, because they've already seen us use one. And then if they play something like, I don't know, Plaguecrafter, Chupacabra, sure, Chupacabra's fine. See, now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and hold on to our... Oh, that's also pretty good. Okay. We're just going to play Eldest. Make them sack Chupacabra. Try to bring back their Thief of Sanity and or Plaguecrafters. See, I'd like... Oh, man, this is like my favorite card in Guilds of Ravnica, Thief of Sanity. But, once again, on a budget, so we are not just adding that to the deck, as much as I would love to. Unfortunately, when you play the budget version of this deck, too, that means that you don't really have that many win conditions. Like, you kind of only get to have what... I mean, like, that's why I've selected to use, like, the Nezahal route, just because it means that we don't have to use a ton of wild cards. It's an efficient win condition. All these control decks are having a lot of problems with it. Okay, so they bounce that back to their hand. They play it. We lose Cast Down. Cast Down gone. So now the opponent's got to discard a card. I know they don't have a 1-mana bounce, so I know we're good there. Then our Ascanta flips. If there's a land on top, I'm definitely pitching it. Graveyard. We don't need that many lands. All right, transform. Well, good thing we got the same land. Not even a different art. Should have mixed and matched. That seems interesting. Opting in response to the discard. I'm going to hold on to the land, though. I'm not going to play it, because I want to be able to eventually get to the point where if they make me discard anything, I'd like to discard the swamp. Doom Whisper. Interesting. All right, let's see what we can find. Very interesting. I kind of want to grab Sinister Sabotage here. Right? Sinister Sabotage. Yeah, we'll take Sinister Sabotage over the Tezzeret. Let that resolve. Sure, they can Surveil. This goes back to their hand at some point. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cast this other Eldritch Reborn we've got. They can choose whether or not they want to bounce the Disinformation Campaign back to their hand. But at this point, I almost want to just let it go back to their hand. Because, honestly, I'm just going to discard Golden Demise. I'm just going to discard Golden Demise. What they need to find right now is an answer to this Thief of Sanity. We've already answered their Doom Whisperer, so I'm not too worried about that. At this point now, I think I'm just protecting Thief of Sanity. Disinformation Campaign can come down. That's fine. I'll discard Golden Demise here. Cool. All right, and we take the game. Sure, Mater. Good luck, opponent. Yeah, that, like, the win conditions of this deck are mostly our opponent's win conditions because we have, like, 2 Eldest Reborns. And that was, like, 2 Eldest Reborn, a Tezzeret, a Dream Eater, and a Nezahul. I think that's, like, our win conditions. Yuck. All right, let's take a look at their hand. Let's take a peek-see. Radiant Destiny, that's got to go. I'm going to keep that, surprisingly. I know I could grab a black source here, which is what I'd like to do. But Legion's Landing. Okay, that's fine. We can bounce the token, hold this up. I'm going to actually use this time to Surveil, though, or to Discovery. Now, the punish here would have been if I didn't have... The punish here is... We could have actually gone ahead and Discoveried. If we had a Guild Gate, then we could have played the Guild Gate, but we chose to play the island instead. But it's fine. Opponent, please. Don't play anything. You've got nothing else. You're fine. So if they don't have anything, which is good news... Or they could be holding on and, like, assuming that maybe we have a Ritual of Soot here. Playing the Disinformation campaign first. Sweet, so we drew the land. Maybe, just maybe, we could trick our opponent into thinking we don't have a second black source. Maybe they'll commit a little bit more to the board because of that. So I'm going to just show that, oh no, I don't have a second black source. What am I going to do? Poor me. The poor me's. Okay, it's fine. You could tribunal that. That's totally fine. That's not my planeswalker. Alright. Just hold up our mana now. We'll take 3 more damage. Yeah, that can't happen. That card does way too much for them. I can't have my opponent refilling their hand. Luckily, that's not Ixalan's Binding. Okay. So far, not an issue. Not an issue. Take the damage. Alright, I'm going to bounce this back to my back to their hand. At the end of their turn here. Sweet. So now I get to go make Disinformation campaign, make them discard a card. And then I'm going to go ahead and play this other Disinformation campaign to hopefully draw another card. And at that point, our opponent will have no more cards left in hand. Still no win conditions from us, though, outside of this Disinformation campaign. And what? And which information campaign? This one. All right. We're either getting roped or that is one of the toughest decisions they've ever made. Okay, there's the timer. All right, sweet. All right, go ahead and make him discard the other card. We're going to play the Guild Gate. Ugh, hate Guild Gates. Wish we had different mana. This time around, I'm actually going to go ahead and use Moment of Craving on Martyr of Dusk. This way, we don't really take 2. We only gain 1 off of it, essentially. But now that we know that the token's out on the board, our sweeper and all that, it's going to be more effective. And I'm going to save this Vraska's Contempt for when they eventually try to play another one of the big... What is it? The Champion of Dusk. Alright, I'm clearing this off because they're going to just try to nickel and dime me for the rest of the game. Now we're forcing them into a position where they have to actually throw threats at me. That's fine. I want to draw cards. I like drawing cards. Okay. It's not so good there, but it's fine. Now, I don't agree about me actually doing this because I could instead be holding up the mana to counter something. It's 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Gonna play this. Get rid of that swamp in hand. So we're gonna play Disinformation Campaign. We're gonna let Twilight Prophet sit for a turn. They only have 3, 6, 7. They only have 7 permanents. So we can exile it later. Yeah, sure, we take 2 life unnecessarily, but using our health as a resource. Alright, that's fine. Four, 8. Just got to make sure we don't let them go wide. Don't let them run anything ridiculous, any kind of ridiculous counter spells or anything like that. Or I mean, token generating spells. So that's 3, 5, 8, 9. Sure. We can trick them into swinging here. All right, so they've swung in. We're gonna use Dream Eater. Get all these lands off the top of our library. Keep Syncopate on top. We're going to go ahead and bounce, I don't know, Sky Marcher's Aspirant. Sure. Take the action. Bounce that. Move to blocks. Dream Eater will block and eat the Twilight Prophet, so we get to save this Contempt. Balls in their court again. We're pretty far ahead right now, but also on top of that, our opponent's kind of gotten a little unlucky and hit a few lands. I'm going to just pass it back to the opponent. We have 4, 7, 9 mana. We have double Disinformation Campaign in hand, Vraska's Contempt ×2, Sinister Sabotage, and Syncopate. Not attacking, huh? Seems our opponent respects it. I'm not going to cast this. We don't need this right now. There's no point using Chemister's Insight right now. Time to go ahead and start attacking their life total. They're choosing not to attack with the Sky Marcher's Aspirant. I assume they might be afraid of like another one of these Dream Eaters. Luckily, we only opened this one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can have the City's Blessing. Sure. Take that damage, then we'll go ahead and go Martyr of Dusk gets exiled by Vraska's Contempt. Jeez Louise. I guess we just pass it back to the opponent again. I'm just going to play this Disinformation Campaign, see if we draw anything. We drew a Nezahal. That's not a bad draw. They have 4 mana, so we have to do it for 5. All right, so next turn we have him dead, because we're gonna play Nezahal. This time we're gonna have mana backup and all this other stuff too. They're obviously just going to take that because I don't think they care enough about 4 damage right now. They assume they have 2 turns, but then we're playing Nezahal. So with Nezahal on board now, they're staring at lethal. We're gonna take him out now, because once we untap, we're gonna just Contempt this token. Get it out of the way so it doesn't get a chump block Nezi. Nice. Just counter that. All right, and it looks like we've won this game, so we'll take the hit from the opponent here, call it a day. And nice thing about these bouncing back in Nezahal is I have no maximum hand size. All right, 2-0. All right, Area Vis, let's get ready to duel. Not a lot of early interaction, and in best of 1, we kind of want to be ready. Oh, this is a little bit of a heavy hand here. I'm gonna mulligan. I'll try this. Early removal, but really just need to make sure I hit a land. I'm concerned about not drawing a land here. Oh, well, we drew it anyways. Look at that. Just wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally top it. Moto Bug. Alright. Whoa. Is that a Nabin? I'm all for this right now. Hold on. Whenever a wizard enters the battlefield, how risky is it to let it stick around? I don't know. I don't want to get wizards retorted. So I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of it now. Okay. D2 Chronicler. So it looks like we're up against just straight blue-red wizards. The Naven, aka Doctor Strange. I like it. Alright. Naven makes it so that if a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of permanent you control to trigger twice. And then they played Gitu Chronicler. So I'm totally okay with Gitu Chronicler right now. Gitu Chronicler's not that big a deal. It's only 1 damage to me. I may as well go ahead and start disinformation campaigning. Memorial War, very interesting. We might lose our land here. Please don't blow up my Dimir Guildgate. It's my only dual land. Oh, no land. Alright, well, we gotta pass it back. Seems that both of us are a little shy on lands right now. Alright, so he's pitching. The opponent is now pitching Merfolk Trickster. Works out for me. So far, we need something that dies to fungal infection to hit the board. At the very least. Oh, there we go. Fourth land. I like it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play another disinformation campaign with the ability to have fungal infection to be held up. Turn entire permanent you control to its owner's hand. Okay. Are they going to just discard the Gitu Chronicler? Looks like they are. Alright. Guildgate for the opponent. Is it Guildgate? So now they have double blue. Let's see how that changes things. I think this is the ideal time to do this. Let's go ahead and Thought Erasure. See if the coast is clear. Check for negates, etc., etc. Alright. Alright. That was a good game. Up against Samuro. Okay, so this has just been a smooth sailing so far. We're at 3-0. Don't really think we need to tune the deck at all. Right now I like what I've got. We did complete a daily and open an Atrata, but I don't think I'm putting a Atrata in here. This is double Thought Erasure. It's pretty nice. Little greedy, syncopate, but no interaction because it could be an early, an aggressive deck, so we need some early interaction or at least the guarantee to not stumble. So this is perfect, right? Ooh, early interaction and fungal infection, the ability to Thought Erasure. Well, are we playing against this? Looks like it's a mirror match. Thought Erasure from the opponent. Probably going to rip our Thought Erasure. Yep. Let's just hope they don't have another one or anything like that. I'm going to play this island. This is known information for the opponent. Looks like we're about to have a... double Thought Erasure from the opponent. Very good. Stripping us of our engine. Alright, may as well play the island now. They did miss a land, though. So they did miss a land. We are pulling ahead on lands here. Ooh, another whiff from the opponent on lands. Alright, we're going to play the Guildgate. Yep. Just keep playing our lands. We're pulling ahead. We're 2 lands ahead. They know about Sinister Sabotage, though, so... we resolve as Kanta. That's perfect. That is perfect right now. We needed the Kanta. This helps us get back into the game after losing too many cards from the Thought Erasures. I'm going to graveyard that. May as well get started on building up the graveyard count for our little Escanta here before anything happens to it. Alright, nothing from the opponent. Syncopate, I'll hold on to that. I want as much counter magic as I can right now. Either our opponent is doesn't have any counter magic or hasn't drawn any. I see a lot of Dimir lists running around playing just like 3 Sinister Sabotages. That's just a little too counter light for someone like me. So, ooh, wrong one. I love that this deck is mostly just uncommons, like in commons. Like, it's beautiful. I'm thinking, like, what is the thing I'm worried about from the opponent, right? And I just not seeing anything too crazy from the opponent here. Plus, this also puts the graveyard count to 5, which is always nice. We hit our opponent's hand, play a land. Okay, disinformation campaign. This is fine because I can discard my Ritual of Soot here. Oh, come on. Thought Erasure again. That's pretty brutal. That's almost a playset from the opponent. This is going back to their hand. They're obviously taking Syncopate. Yeah. But now we get to flip his Kanta. That's the only thing nice about this. The fact that we can actually combat. All right, I'm going to keep that. We're going to transform anyways, get a land. Okay, Escanta's flipped. Let's see if they have Field of Ruin. Do I have any creatures I can get? No. So I'd rather grab this because this surveils. So let that go. Part of me wants to just actually hold on to Fungal Infection for the eventual Eldritch Reborn, but that's got the like least use for me here. All right. Opponent continuing to grind us out of cards here. Luckily, we do have the Memorial here, too. With the Memorial, we can also just... I don't want any of those right now. Those aren't that good. Oh, that's even worse. Alright. Let's start seeing if we can run them out of cards. No. Alright, I don't care if they rip my hand apart. These cards suck. We are going to mill before our opponent does, though. Moment of Craving, not really useful here. Golden Demise, another dud. Alright, well, we're just going to go ahead and keep passing. At this point now, how many counterspells do we have? Sphinx. Sure. Alright, let's see what they do. They're going to obviously bounce these back. So there's 7 cards in the yard for the opponent right now after them playing Dream Eater. I mean, well, like 7 cards before Dream Eater's Surveil happens. So they threw away 2 cards. It's fine. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just kill the Dream Eater. We know that these are going to bounce back to their hand. That costs them 6 mana. 6 of their 8 mana right now. So, meaning that, yeah, we're going to... They'll only have about 2, at best 3 more mana after they play both of them. We've got more than enough targets to throw away. Throw the Golden Demise away. Throw Ritual of Soot away. Okay, that one I do care about. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and counter the Escanta here. That keeps them in the game. At least right now, I know I'm okay and like free of like any worry from them pulling too much. Because as long as I have the Escanta, I get a lot more things to do. Alright, so it's our turn to play a Dream Eater. Cool, they threw the cast down away. Alright, opponent, what do you got? Alright. They have 1 Thought Erasure left in their deck. We've got 2 more Sinister Sabotages and a Syncopate left. So that's 3 more counterspells from us. A Dream Eater from the opponent. Sure. That resolves. I have to assume that there's probably an Eldritch Reborn in our opponent's hand. We're waiting until we find our Thought Erasures because we have our own set. That'd be really beneficial here. 29 cards to 31. Seems good. Alright, they bounce both their Disinformation campaigns back to their hand. Let's see if they tap out to play the last one, last bit of it. And they do. That's fine. We're just going to play, discard the Moment of Craving. Resolve. Alright, at the end of their turn, time for me to surveil some more. There's all of our thought erasures. Alright, let's do this. Cool. Doesn't matter. I'm going to decline the action. Take this back to my hand. Take the disinformation back to my hand. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and play the disinformation campaign. Perfect. Make him discard a card. Then we're going to thought erasure them. They have an Eldest Reborn, which we want that more than anything else. Yeah, let's get rid of the Eldest Reborn. No counterspells from the opponent, so I could actually just... Let's go ahead and not... Okay, better do this before auto tap gets me. So we're going to grind them out of cards again. What are they throwing away? Let's go to combat. Perfect. And then now, let's go ahead and thought erasure our opponent, ripping the disinformation campaign, keeping Eldest Reborn on top, bouncing this disinformation campaign back to our hand. Next turn, we're going to just go ahead and play it again. Blood Operative. It's a powerful card, but at least we have Contempt. Doesn't matter what they take from our graveyard, because we can also pull from theirs. There's nothing too intense like that I'm too worried about right now. All right. Disinformation campaign. All right, they now no longer have their Vraska's Contempt. How many forms? So that's their first Contempt, and we already pitched 2, unfortunately. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and exile this. This is our only Contempt. This is our last one. So we need to have the opponent kind of stall out for a little bit. Because then once we're able to untap, we can do something about it. Cool. We'll win. All right, Noctis. We have early interaction. We had a pretty smooth 4-0 there. Pretty smooth 4-0. All right, so it looks like we're up against what is mono blue. It's going to be problematic. Let's just hope that we dodge the Curious Obsession on turn 2. How much can they commit to? Alright, that's problematic. But, good news. I can now thought erasure them. It's up to them if they want to pop the Siren Storm Tamer. This also means they don't have a wizard on board, so their Wizard's Retort would cost 3 if they decide to pop to keep their hand safe. Alright, so they do decide to keep their hand safe for me. Probably an alright decision. I mean, me having information kind of just makes it so their deck is a little bit easier to play around. Curious Obsession, yep. Always have it. Always has it, mono blue. I mean, you watched me play it. I always had it. I have to assume that they always have it too. I strongly doubt this would have worked. The cast down. They probably have a dive down. The only reason why that slipped through the cracks is because it doesn't target. Because I mean, dive down doesn't do anything about this resolving. Now we have to hope here. This is our hope here that we can get this to actually resolve. I gotta go for it. Here comes Wizard's Retort or Spell Pierce. Yep, makes sense. So now that we've done that, ideally I want to draw a 5th land here and play Eldest Reborn. And we just gotta, we're at the mercy of what our opponent draws. Because there's definitely dive down in their hand. Okay. Okay. Oh, that hurts. Siren Storm Tamer. Okay, well, the board wipe was our last shot, and now it's a little too late. Alright. It's kind of rough. I guess we're taking the targeting route. If we're doing that, we may as well pop these off next turn. Alright. I got nothing else I can do anyway, so we're going to just pop off next turn. We're going to make them fire off all their stuff. That's fine. That resolves. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't stop Spell Pierce. Doesn't stop Dive Down. They need to tap out. But they'll never tap out at this point. Alright. Let's begin. They have a retort in the yard. Yep. Protects it from that. Cast down this turn. Hopefully they don't have anything to counter, but we're going to try to play an Eldest Reborn. We're going to try for it. They know we top both the cards. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. This is where it's snowballing too fast. That resolved. What are they discarding? Or sacking? Jin? Jin's the faster clock, but Miscloaked is the one with the Curious Obsession. Unless they have another Curious Obsession. Alright. So that actually resolved. I was surprised. Next turn, we are... Oh, come on. Another Jin. That's brutal. Okay, so it's only a board sweeper or we lose now. Board sweeper's our only shot. That's so brutal. It has to be either... it has to be a board sweeper. That's all we can do. No, it's not. Okay, we're dead. It doesn't matter at this point. We're dead. Yeah, there's nothing I could draw here that would save me. Not for 2 mana. Good game, opponent. Okay, Alarix, let's battle. Well, we just have to dodge. I mean, right now we don't have Detection Tower either. So if we had a Detection Tower, I'd be less terrified of a dive down. That was rough. That was a beating from Mono Blue. Think of all of these, the card I care the most about is probably Fine Finality. It's the most threatening, because they're able to buy everything back after they use it. Because they're already going to have redundancy in this creature, in a Branch Walker, the Squire. They're not stuck on mana. They could already easily get to Jade Light. Not gonna do anything about that right now. We're gonna let the golden. We're gonna let that sit. Let's see, Jade Light. Jade Light just needs to whiff once, just once. Draw. Okay, so will they keep that on top? No. All right, it's a land. Cool. So we can still wipe the board with Golden Demise. Unfortunately, I'm in the camp where now I need to do this now, because once they get their 4th land, that means it bounces back to us. Our 5th land, meaning that we go Golden Demise, we have 2 mana up. We have nothing to counter. We need to worry about things like Planeswalkers. But at the same time, how do we beat Carnage Tyrant in this deck? We have to disperse it enough times. Carnage Tyrant will actually just be the death of us, though. Maybe if we can find Unmoored Ego, if we can open one of those, get that. Or, I mean, we could spend one of our very precious wildcards on it. Because Eldest Reborn, I would have to 1-for-1 this right now, and that just doesn't feel good. Golden Demise, not really worth casting right now. Here we go. It's the turn. It's the cheese turn. Are we going to get cheesed out of this game? Here we go. Carnage Tank. Show me it. Yep, there it is. Okay, let me think here. What else do I have? Or do we just Stone Cold lose to this? I think we just Stone Cold lose to this. Yeah, I like legitimately I think we do just die to this card. Like not even close. Here's where they just play any other creature. Yep, there it is. Llanowar Elf, makes sense. And then we're dead, because we don't have any 2-mana removal spells. What is that? 5, 8 mana? Oh, actually, no, we have just enough. We have just enough. So we do this. Doesn't do much for us, but... we get to Eldest. We get to Eldest. Make them sack this, but they pop that Memorial to Folly to bring it back. Yeah, Carnage Tyrant is just a card. I think that with how popular this card is, I think if you want to move forward with this deck, you have to get Detection Tower. You need Detection Tower, or you need some Christmas miracle that your opponent doesn't know that that's uncounterable. Yep. We have a chump blocker, so we're not dead. We don't have a chump blocker, actually, because they'll just kill it. Yeah. All right, well, let's see. We'll test our opponent, see if they know. Do we even have an out to this now? No, right? All of these have to go. All of these are useless. Okay. So we take 4, we go down to 1. If they kill it, doesn't matter. It tramples over. Okay, cool. Alright, Sigilus, good luck, opponent. Alright, so we went ahead and just crafted the Detection Tower. Because I just remember how popular Carnage Tyrant is on the ladder. And if everyone, like, it's just nice to know that you have an answer to, so you don't get cheesed out by that card. Kant has got to go. Keep the Guild Gate, sure. We're going to need our lands anyways. We mulliganed here. Play the Disinformation Campaign. Hope they didn't draw a counterspell. Alright, another land. So we have our lands covered. We're good on lands for some time now. So we were starting off 4-0, and then now we're at 4-2, losing to Mono Blue and Carnage Tyrant. Like, this deck doesn't have a problem with anything outside of Carnage Tyrant against Golgari. So if you wanted to, there's a very real possibility that you just go and like make sure that you play Unmoored Ego. Unmoored Ego in best of 1 has been surprisingly working well for me because it just deals with all like random like cheese cards like Carnage Tyrant or maybe Phoenix, stuff like that. Also helps because you're going to see a lot of Nexus decks on the ladder too. We've kind of got a little land flooded here. But hopefully we can draw our way out of this. But concerns are that this is going to get countered. Oh, wow. It didn't get countered. Alright, they're pitching to Fairy, letting me know that they have another one. Resolves. Revitalize, it's just going to happen anyways. Also, another nice thing about Detection Tower is it helps deal with all the white knights. Or, I mean, the knights, you know, Vine Mares, stuff like that. Okay, Syncopate for 1. Takes care of Teferi permanently. Oh, another land. We've only got lands in hand. Treasure Map. Sure. Need a little help from our deck, but let's see if this resolves. Alright. Do we want to draw here? Yeah, let's just start drawing. Let's just start drawing.
Let's see how you respond to genius.
Alright, what's in their hand? Okay, so it is the Nexus of Fate deck. So, the only way we can attack this style of deck, at least, is by us just making 1/1s. We just got to keep attacking them. Right now, they're gonna... Unfortunately, our clock is terrible against this deck. So we play... I think this is what I mean by the Nexus of Fates are so important in this matchup. I mean, the Unmoored Egos are so important. So let's say that we just start making tokens. That's only one token, right? Not really going to do much against our opponent. Game plan is to hopefully draw into something here. Alright, let's go Disinformation Campaign. We have to keep attacking their hand. At this point, a 1/1, an army of 1/1s wouldn't save us. That's good. See, that's good. But unfortunately, we can only do it for 2. Once they flip the map, they'll have 3, 5, 8 mana at their disposal. So they could pay for 1, but they can't pay for 2 with Nexus. Comes down to whether or not our opponent will also let us untap. Okay, so that's a land from the opponent. We have to keep that. That's an answer to their to planeswalkers. All right, let's just go ahead and start making this happen. Play this. We've got more than enough lands to discard. Oh, that's not what you want to see. That's really bad. They have no creatures. We have a very wrong half of our deck in this matchup. Yeah, I think it's definitely a safe craft for Unmoored Ego. If you're planning on playing best of 1 as your main way, I think at this point, this is how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to play Unmoored Ego. It sucks, but there's just some matchups that you probably will not win without it. If I were my opponent, I may have minus there. Okay. Karn's got to go. See if they draw a cat. I thought this was the end of their turn, so that's a misplay on my part. Because it was supposed to be at the end of their turn, so they can't, even if they draw, and they can't play another Planeswalker. Brighter side of things, if we get them to play a Planeswalker, they have to, like, pop a ton of treasures. Okay. Yeah. I'll keep that on top. I'll keep that on top.
It is the ideal subordinate.
Time to go ahead and do discovery here. See what we can find. Don't need that card, but we do want the Contempt, as we said before. Ooh, this can be a grind fest. Now, just know that when you're also laddering and you play a deck like this, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. Alright, that was a Glacial Fortress in the opponent's hand. Little concerning because our only counter right now is Syncopate. And it's not a hard counterspell, and they've got more than enough mana to pay for all of the stuff they need. Let's see, how much mana do they have? They have 3... Oh my gosh. That's so much mana. So 3, 6, 8. They have the ability to have 11, so they can pay for my Syncopate. easily. I gotta chance it. Do they have it? Ugh. I almost want to attack their treasures. Oh boy. That's a really bad card. May as well just start working our way towards an ult.
Silent, obedient perfection.
Alright, so that's resolved. Keep attacking their hand. That's all we can do. Cool. No more lands, please, game. So we can syncopate for a total of 6. That's the best we can do. We have a lot of dead cards in this matchup, but we have 27 cards left in our library. We've only used one. No, we haven't used any Sinister Sabotages. So this is okay. They're down treasures. The fact that they're losing treasures makes me happy. That, however, does not make me happy. That's like the worst thing they could have. That's just the actual worst thing they could have. But we can bounce it back to their hand. So not that big of a concern here. May as well draw a card with it. We're going to bounce the Search Discanta back to their hand, and then we're going to Disinformation campaign it from their hand. Even if they use this treasure, it has to be a counterspell that they've drawn from treasure map. This is our only hope here. We got to hope that they blank. We haven't seen a Sinister Sabotage. We have to hope that they don't either. Got to hope they hit the wrong half of their deck. All right. So they're not going to respond to it. Drew a cast down. A Ritual of Soot. Yeah. This is about what I'd expect to be drawing. They can sacrifice a treasure, sure, if they want, but then we'll get it with the second one anyways.
I made you a gift.
All right, get in there with the Thopters. We have a lot of not too good cards in this matchup right now. Like, the entire right side of our hand is mostly dead. We gotta just... Alright, so how much mana do they have? They have 2 mana open. So we can syncopate this for 1, 2, 3. So they don't get that back, which is nice. Being able to counter that permanently was really nice. All right, opponent concedes. Okay, so we ended on this list. We ended up going 5-2. Not a bad showing. There's a reason we added one more change to this. We added one more rare card. A card that's going to be useful in a Dimir control deck, or any kind of 2-color deck, or any kind of spot removal heavy deck. So even Golgari, we added a Detection Tower. So that's the difference between the starting deck list that we had and the ending one right now. We added a Detection Tower. As you can see, sometimes you just get cheesed out by a simple Carnage Tyrant or Vine Mare. Any of those cards can just thoroughly stomp you out. So you need to be ready for it, considering that Carnage Tyrant is a main deck and it's like hate card for you, and it's very, very efficient at killing you. It being a 7/6 is nothing to laugh at, and unfortunately you can't chump it with a Fungal Infection token. And I know you could say, oh well, easy, we just Eldest Reborn it, but you know, we kill the Batman. I mean, that's kind of like one of those. I don't think it works that way. They'll throw a Llanowar Elf in front of it, or, you know, like let's say you'd rip it from their hand and then they go Fine Broker or Memorial to Folly, bring it back. It's a hassle to deal with. But at least now, if you have Detection Tower, you can target it with Vraska's Contempt. So we didn't actually get to see the tower do its job in the final match because we didn't need it, but we did it's just nice to have. Now you don't have to have the detection tower. You can just say, hey, if you have Carnage Tyrant, let's scoop them up. But I also don't have more dispersals. Maybe I can see if I can find, or like if we can get more dispersals, then that's perfect. But right now, this is how the list ended, and it felt very powerful. Did the control game very well. You watched me keep the board clear. You watched me, like just control the opponent out of the game by grinding him out of cards. Even in a matchup where like they looks like like in Jeskai, this is one of those decks where you can just grind Jeskai out. Our last matchup, which was kind of unfavored because they have Nexus, we did get lucky. If this is built for best of one, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think you've got to have Unmoored Ego. A singleton copy of Unmoored Ego is not the end of the world here. I know it's a do nothing against aggro decks, but hey, it has its applications. You can name Experimental Frenzy because we don't really have an efficient way to deal with that. That's all I can say for best of one. Highly recommend an Unmoored Ego. Let's look at the cards that will help make the deck work a bit more, or the things that you should work towards. So like up front is Disinformation Campaign. This card, like it's not the best against aggro matchups because it kind of does nothing to the board. But the thing about this card is that you're able to just run them out of cards anyways, and it draws you cards, which is the biggest part. It can draw you a card and kind of play to the making your opponent gas out kind of plan, because they're running out of threats. If they're an aggro deck, they're dumping their hand early, and maybe like you go turn 3 Disinformation Campaign, they're throwing away a key piece of their aggro plan, so they got to choose between maybe let's just say in this case against mono white or something, Conclave Tribunal or another threat. Well, perfect. They throw away Conclave Tribunal, meaning that you can keep maybe your Planeswalkers, all this other stuff, or they have to throw away a Benalish Marshal or some other creature. And this is just an all-star. This is the card you want in any grindy matchup. So Golgari, Control, any of those matchups, this is where you definitely need these in, because it's going to constantly come back to your hand. You have so many ways to surveil. The other card is Thought Erasure. This is the best thing you can be doing on turn 2 in Standard right now. I just don't know. This target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Surveil 1. First off, in this Standard, this is a hot take, but the fact that I don't take any 2 life, it's like a Thoughtseize. It's like a Thoughtseize. I mean, it pretty much is, right? But for 2 mana, and I don't take 2 life, seems great. It seems very powerful, because it is. And I mean, the amount of times that you're just going to be able to rip a key part of your opponent's hand, ruin their curve or whatever with this card, and then also getting to fix your top card of your draw, meaning that this can help you get to your 3rd land, so making it so that your 2 land keeps aren't the absolute worst, because you can go 2 lands, play this on turn 2, push the card on top of your library, hopefully you draw 3rd land, and then you get to, it feeds right into Disinformation Campaign, thus making them now out of 2 cards. And if you do this on turn 4, you can return the Disinformation Campaign. So this is just your Dimir engine. And of course, I know it's not cool, but really, I want all my Watery Graves. This recommendation here is really me recommending you get Watery Graves and Drowned Catacombs, because both are needed. Both are needed. The more you can get, the better. Obviously, Watery Grave with the upside of being able to come into play untapped at all points and turning on multiple Drowned Catacombs. I think this is just more of a priority pick. If I had to pick between this or Drowned Catacomb. But you want 4 of these and 4 Drowned Catacombs. Just, if you've got the dual, if your deck has the option to get dual lands, please get them. Don't write them off. They're very good. I mean, we got away with just having Guild Gates, luckily. But there are situations where that's going to really bite us in the butt. And Ritual of Soot. This is our sweeper right now. This is what we've got. It's not a hard removal, but it's not a clean answer like Damnation or anything like that, but it is a very good sweeper, and it kills a good chunk of the Golgari threats that they're relying on early game, like Jadelight Rangers, all this other stuff. And, it sucks, but sometimes you got to do this on a board with Midnight Reapers. Make sure, I mean, if I were you, try to kill the Midnight Reaper first and then use this. But yeah, like this card, you know, it helps. It's what's keeping us in the game. It's not cleansing Nova, but it's keeping us in the game. And it doesn't care how big your opponent's threats are. All it cares about is the mana cost. So Wild Growth Walker can be a 400 attack power. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so definitely need this because this is going to be a key element of any control deck. The rest of the deck is mostly uncommons and commons. Now, obviously, Sinister Sabotage, a counterspell, is very important, but let's be honest here. I've seen some Dimir control lists just go full tap-out control. So if you don't like the playstyle that I was playing, where you have to leave up mana, try to, like, you know, plan your turns ahead to see, like, how, like, when you can cast, like, a board wipe. Like, example, you'd watch me cast Golden Demise on turn 3 on the spot. Even though only getting 2 creatures off of it, it made it so that I can hold up mana on turn 4 and just take another round of damages. So this way I can protect myself around like Golgari's turn 5 plays, like Vivian Reed, or maybe even like some other deck, right? Any other deck. So like the leaving your mana up playstyle does require you to plan ahead for your turns and knowing which threats you want to counter. But these are all the key parts that I think you need. And so if you decide you want to opt out of the the leave your mana up kind of control, you can go tap out control, and that way you don't even need Sinister Sabotage. So other than that, thank you guys so much for coming back and watching another episode of Free to Play Fish, now rebranded to Budget Arena. And thank you so much for hanging out and leaving you know, constructive criticism. You know, I'm always listening to you guys on in the comment section. And it's always nice to see you guys giving me genuine feedback, because, you know, it's nice that you guys care. It's really nice that you guys care. So, you know, let's continue to grow together. And thank you so much for coming back and supporting my content. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to stop on my stream, ask me on Twitter, any of my social medias. I've been seeing a lot of you come by in my channel, so thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you back at the next episode. It is I, yours truly, your host, Krim, signing out.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.